Hi guys, welcome back to Practically Creative. I'm Melissa. Today we're going to do something that I've done before, but I'm going to show a new version of it because I'm making a bigger one. This is a wool pressing mat. We all have one, or most of us have one. And one thing that I have noticed about wool pressing mats is that they make my inside of my wrists and my hands itch if I use them a lot, especially if I'm doing a lot of chain piecing and ironing. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to create a cover for my mat, and I'm using some Cafe fabric, Cafe Facet. This was gifted to me by a subscriber, and thank you very much for the fabric. I appreciate it. I've used part of that fabric in a quilt top, and today I'm going to show you how I'm going to create a cover for this wool ironing mat. And the new way that I have my sewing studio set up, I need to be able to move the wool pressing mat back and forth. And with my hands not really liking the fabric, I kind of need to do something a little bit different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you so you can see from the top down what I'm doing on this. And this is just going to be a quick little tutorial for how I make this. If you have better ideas than what I use, I'm always happy to hear them. So let's go over here to the cutting table and get started. So I'm going to take a marker, and it's just a fabric marking tool. And I'm just going to draw right around my mat. Just kind of pressing it down so I get a fairly accurate seam. It will be a little bit big, but that's okay, because by the time I get it done, it will fit exactly. So now I'm going to pull the mat itself out of here. I want to put a hanger on it because I want to make sure that when I'm all done, I can hang it up. And I'm not going to trim all the way around, but I am going to give myself a little room over here. Maybe an inch, inch and a half. And I'm just going to cut the fabric. Take off that extra. Not getting rid of it because the extra is going to turn into my handle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this over to my sewing machine, and I'm going to sew 3 sides of this. So I'm going to sew here and down both sides. So let's move over to the sewing machine. I'm going to start up here at this corner. And notice that I'm just holding everything together. And I'm going to start up here at the corner. I'm going to back stitch. I keep saying back space instead of back stitch, and that's irritating to me. And I am using a 2.5 stitch length. Just because that works for me. All the way down to that corner, and then I'm going to hold everything together and pivot and stay right there on that same line that I drew. So now we've got that done. I'm going to bring over I think I want to do the pink for the handle, and I'm just going to fold it in half and finger press it with my hands. And then I'm going to fold the outside edge to the middle. Finger press with my hands, same here. And that's probably way longer than what I actually need. But I'm going to sew this whole little piece together and make it into a handle for my ironing board. I'm just doing about 1/8 of an inch seam allowance along the edges, just because I want to make everything stay together. And I'm going to sew all the way down both sides. I'm just using my fingers to make sure that everything stays lined up. This is absolute practical utility sewing, so it's not necessarily got to be pretty. I just would like for it to be pretty. Alright, lift, turn, sew across that end, because there's no point in cutting thread. And then start back down the other side with that 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. And I don't need interfacing on this because I've basically got 4 layers of fabric, so it's self-interfaced, for lack of a better word. Now, if I really wanted to, I could go ahead and sew a couple of more rows down the center of this for some more protection, but I'm not going to. Let's go back over to the cutting table for a minute, and I'll show you how I'm going to trim this. So I'm going to go down the sides and make that seam allowance about 1/4 to 1/2 inch. And I know there's a couple of you who are cringing because I'm using scissors. The reason I'm using scissors is because I want to do that at the corner and be able to trim that corner off pretty close so it'll turn out right. This is the bottom. Which you can see I'm trimming a little bit closer. So far there's my trash. And I've still got that big piece from the brown one that I can use for piecing anything else I want. Or if I change my mind and decide I want a double handle on this, I could do that as well. I'm not going to trim this up here at the top, but I am going to go ahead and turn my little cover out. And you can see I didn't sew all the way to that top edge. Turn it out, use your fingers to poke it out. Make sure that there's no holes down your sides. And yes, they are the same pattern, they're just different colors, which I thought was really cute to use for a wool pressing mat. And then let's get our mat and slide it in here. Where did I set the mat? That's always my issue. Where did I set the mat? Alright, so let's get the mat. And let's put the mat inside the casing. No, I didn't forget to put the handle on at all. I'm going to fold the mat in half gently and put it down in here. And then unfold the mat. And put it all the way down in. It's kind of like putting a pillowcase on a pillow that's just a hair too big. And yeah, I'm trying not to put my hands on that mat any more than I has to. My mat in my bag, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold the edges of the bag in on their individual sides. So the pink goes in on the pink side and the brown goes in on the brown side. I'm going to make that even. And so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of finagle it so that the two edges meet as well as I can. And because I want to be able to hang this up, I'm going to take my handle and I'm going to put it inside of there. Bring it around so that it's not twisted. And I'm going to put it inside of there. And the goal is so that when I'm not using it, I can hang it up on a nail or a command hook or something so I don't end up searching for my ironing mat every time I need it. Now, we need clips. Everything in my room got moved a few days ago. And I'm still finding it. You could glue this in place if you wanted to, so that you have it so you have it all in one place. And you can hear I made an incredible mess. Let's get out the clip box and let's clip this all together. I want to clip that handle into place so it doesn't wander on me. And then I'm going to look real quick. I have got, starts at about 3 inches in. So I want to do the same over here, just so it looks even and it doesn't bother me later. I will tell you up front, if you're the person who's going to criticize because something doesn't match up perfectly, I'm sorry. I hope you have a better day. My name is Practically Creative, so I'm more interested in having things work than having them be really pretty, although pretty is nice if I can accomplish it. I think that clip is broke. It's not going to open. So let's try a different one. I don't know why there are zippers in my clip box, but they're in there. We're gonna move it. All right. Throw away the clip that doesn't work. And let's go back over to the sewing machine. Let you guys see what I'm doing. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to sew as close as I can without going over. Is that a line from Price is Right, I think? Person who gets the closest without going over wins, right? Probably should have used my zipper foot for this. I wonder if that would work better. Let's try it. You see it's not catching right there. Oh, Mr. Zipperfoot, where are you? There you are. Alright, that doesn't need to be that long. If you have a hard time holding the feet to do that, you can always get out your tweezers and use your tweezers to do it. And one other thing about zipper feet is I always want to make a full stitch before I commit, because I want to make sure that my zipper foot is not going to hit my needle or get bound up on anything. But I think the zipper foot's doing a pretty good job there. Yay, that was a good idea. Yay us, we came up with a great idea. Something I probably should have thought about and done, and I will do on this next handle, is to go back and forth a little bit. So let's get across this handle and then maybe go back and then down here at this end. See, it's not going to match up, but I'm going to sew all the way to the end anyway. So we're going to pull that out. And I want to go back over here to where the handle is. And I want to sew that line one more time. Okay, twice, 3 times, whatever it took. I'm just kind of checking to see if the heat from the wool mat goes through to the cutting mat that's underneath. Because if it does, I'll still have to use the wood, but I don't want to have to do that. So that's why I'm not setting that cordless iron back on its charger base every time. Normally I try to, but you know, if you're chain piecing or doing a whole lot of pressing at once, you don't necessarily want to do that. Alright, so it works quite well to iron, obviously. It's still got cotton on it. Let's turn it over. My mat is cool. So if we turn it over the other way, my sewing up here isn't the most beautiful, but it works quite well, right? All right, I will be back with you in just a second to show you the completely finished product. So I'm glad you watched today. I appreciate it. Here is my new wool pressing mat. I didn't cut the pressing mat down. I had thought about doing that to keep it attached to the wood, but I paid extra to get this 17 by 17 mat, or whatever size it is. Don't really want to cut it down. Here's my handle. I can make the handle shorter if I decide to. I just have to undo the stitches right here. But right now I think it's a good length, and this way I can hang it up, put myself a hook over here and hang it up so I have it accessible if I'm cutting and ironing things. So I think it'll work out really well. So once again, I'm Melissa. This is Practically Creative. I appreciate all my friends coming along, watching the video with us today. If you're new here, I'm glad you hung out until the end and watched everything. I hope that you decide to like and subscribe, maybe come back for another video, or check out some of these that are showing on either side of me. Have a great day. Thank you very much for watching.